We have somebody here to represent.
Yep. Hi.
Hi.
Hopefully you can see and hear me okay. It's pouring rain here in southern Maine, so hopefully no internet
Ooh,
connection
my
issues.
goodness. Yes, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
All right. So run us through this whole process. Like, explain to me why Scream.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, thanks so much for playing it and for selecting it. I've been a fan of the franchise since the very first film. I was around 10 years old when I saw it, and I immediately fell in love with how scary and funny and realistic the first film and really I think many of the sequels work really well. But I felt like even though I was 10 and they were, in their early 20s on screen, I saw myself in those characters. People who love scary movies, love talking about them, poking fun at them. And I just always loved the movies. So a few years ago, it was around 2016 already, right around this time, summer 2016, I woke up in the middle of the night with a great idea for a new sequel because this was before the fifth film came out in theaters earlier this year. And I just like really thought about it for a while and then finally started writing it. And I even have a long feature film outline. This short, 25 years after Woodsboro, is sort of like the opening of that longer idea. But so this is sort of my own version of Scream 5. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. So when you actually, I guess, chose the actresses, were they so I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Did you actually base their looks according to the characters in the past? Because I'm seeing that girl with like a fantastic jawline.
Oh, that's so funny. Oh, I love that. That's a good question. Casting here in New England, it's a smaller market. I moved from New York a couple years ago during the start of COVID, and so living in New England is great, but there aren't a ton of great actors. It's a smaller market, so it was sort of like I was open to anything. I mean, ideally, I would have loved like a redhead because there aren't too many redhead women at all in the Scream franchise.
Yes.
So I was thinking, and of course, people of color, but again, it's very hard in New England. There's sadly, a lot of white people. So I didn't have any specific look, but I was very happy with Hallie and Jen and their look because it does fit very well in the Scream franchise. A lot of strong brunette, women. So yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, Hallie is gorgeous. That great jawline, beautiful long dark hair. And I knew all along that I wanted to kind of do what the third Scream film did, but maybe a little bit better because that film is the making of I don't know if you're familiar, but the third film is on set of Stab 3. So there's the Stab movies within the Scream movies, And
Yeah.
so I thought nowadays, we're seeing lots of reboots still all the time, but we're seeing a lot of TV, horror TV. So I thought that's the next wave is now they're making a Stab TV show. So I always wanted to kind of play with expectations with, is it going to be the younger, the assistant who is our lead, or is it the older, kind of bossy executive? Because we didn't see that many women of that age, kind of middle age, in the Scream franchise. They pop up here and there, but they're more kind of side characters. So I kind of wanted to spotlight an older woman who we're really following in the opening.
Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. And what I noticed you're working with a small space. How was working with the lighting?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, so this location, even though I loved it, it was an awesome location. This was our backup because 2 days before the shoot, another location got cold feet and backed out. So that's why if you see in the credits, I did what Wes Craven did with the very first film, because the first film had location issues a few days before shooting as well. In the first film, it says no thanks whatsoever to the Santa Rosa school board, something like that. And
Oh,
so how crazy. It was a weird twist of fate that 2 days before I got this voicemail, and I knew as soon as I got the voicemail, I was like, oh boy, something's up. You just can tell. And so the first choice completely backed out. They realized they had appointments in the office all day and just never told me. It was so frustrating. But thank God for this office. It's a shared co-working space called Ohive in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. They came through and we were able to use that whole area, as you could see, on a snowy Saturday in December, about 7 months ago.
yeah.
And, with lighting, we didn't really use any extra lights. We just used the natural office lighting. That's kind of how I am as a filmmaker. I don't really, you know, when horror films look so beautiful, it's great, don't get me wrong, but sometimes it takes me out of it. And I wanted this, like with my other horror films, to feel as realistic and kind of raw as possible. So I really wanted us all to kind of be in that typical office setting. Because as you probably know, a lot of production offices in film and TV are not all that glamorous. A lot of times they're kind of being rented temporarily. It's sort of thrown together. So it worked out so great. And some of the lights we really couldn't figure out how to turn on. So when, one of our actresses, Hallie, who plays Alana, when she's walking down the hallway to get the food and how it's kind of spooky dark, we couldn't really figure out a way to turn it on, and we thought, this is brilliant. It's okay if it looks a little grainy because of lack of light. That made it sell that it's a late night in the office. Lots of offices turn off some lights once it's like 8 o'clock at night. So yeah, I was super happy with how it turned out. But yeah, we didn't play around with any lighting. We just used what was available to us, and my great DP Bodhi just made it work. And that way we were able to shoot it all in one day. About 10 hours, 11 hours during a snowstorm.
Oh my goodness. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a first AD on a few different shoots here and there. So I usually don't really have an AD. I'm kind of director, producer, and AD all in one, which sometimes is really hard. But on a shoot like this, where it was a very small cast, very small crew, I think there were maybe like 10 of us total. It's easy to sort of push along, and we cut some things when we needed to, but pretty much everything you see was in the script, 10-page script.
Wow. You see, I'm here in Los Angeles, and it's like almost never heard of for actors to memorize their lines. So for you to let me know that you probably did not work with cue cards and you got that time constraint quite well is just...
Yeah, thank you. I mean, they all were amazing. And Jen, who plays our lead, she's Melanie, the kind of bossy executive. She was cast just a few days before, because that role, as you can imagine, was very hard to cast. It's a hard age to cast and I get it. A lot of actresses that age, they're usually playing either moms or a teacher or a lawyer. Very rarely do they get to be like the boss of a TV show. And it's sort of set in New York without letting it be known it's New York. I kind of wanted it to just feel like kind of any city. And It's funny because now the new official Scream film takes place in New York. So I'm like, quit copying me, Scream. Or at least like give me some of that money. But she was, I met with her, I was able to see her self-tape like literally a week before, and we got on Zoom for just a quick little read-through rehearsal together, maybe like that Tuesday night, and then we shot on Saturday. So, and it's amazing. I should really post it on my Instagram. She wrote all of her lines out and was like doodling and coming up with like keywords to memorize. I mean, such a pro. She also teaches acting, so she knows how to do it.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Mm-hmm. So that makes totally amazing sense to actually cast it there. I love I love how you actually finished with the scream. Like, obviously no horror should ever go without a scream queen.
Yes.
And like at that, doing sound, did nothing peak? Like, how did you actually level that?
Oh my gosh, because I also edited this, and I edit social media videos for work, so I'm used to, I've been editing for years, but I usually don't edit my own shorts because I think I'm a good editor, but I'm not an excellent editor. But because this was a fan film, there was no way I could really get it at too many festivals, not many festivals like yours, even take fan films, right? So I did it all myself. While I had COVID. That was pretty tough. And while I wanted to get it out before the official Scream 5, or else it would kind of feel a little weird. So I was pushing myself around the holidays. But yeah, some of the sound, great sound guy, Keegan, who I hired, I've worked with him before. And he let me know like, oh yeah, it's peaking a little bit. So we did it a couple times, and he just kept changing some settings. And luckily the way it worked out, because I wanted it to kind of, end with that scream. Because very rarely, again, if you remember the movies, very rarely, the first film, you have Drew Barrymore's mother is screaming and then it cuts to her body, but usually the scream is the victim. It's not like another person who finds the body. So I wanted to bring it back to that. So yeah, we just did it a few times, and I was able to kind of start having our song creep in as the scream was still going on. So if it did get a little clippy and a little distorted, the music was able to just sort of cover that, you know.
Brilliant. That's brilliant. Uh, oh, just with the screenwriting process, I know you mentioned earlier, just like how your actress would actually add in words and like be able to
Hmm.
kind of review these. Uh, were there any difficulties in actually, developing the script? Did you actually, I don't know,
That's a
cold
good
do cold
question.
reads and all that such?
Yeah, yeah. I've written every short that I've like directed. I've written myself, and I've written for other people. So I love writing. The hardest thing about writing is just making time for it. You know, since we all work other jobs and everything. So that was the trickiest thing because, like I said, I had this idea starting in 2016, but I didn't actually like sit down and really start writing it until at least maybe 2019. And then once the news of the official film started coming out, I was like, oh crap, okay, I really gotta like push myself and I wanna shoot this, you know? So yeah, the hardest thing was really just trying to get it down to 10 pages exactly. Because I had known from experience the most I've ever been able to shoot in one day is 11 pages, you know, because a lot of my work is dialogue heavy and that flows pretty well as long as your actors, you know, are prepared and can memorize. And I'm also not like, you know, my work is not the Bible. So I tell every actor I work with, like, if you need to tweak a line or two, if there's a word that really doesn't feel right, change it. And I'll let you know if it's a word I really need you to say, you're gonna have to do it. But it's not set in stone. I'm more than happy to switch things around a little bit. Anything that feels more real to them, since they have to be the ones to convey the reality of it, I'm totally fine, you know. But yeah, the biggest issue was when the first location backed out 2 days before. The ending, the death of Melanie was going to be a little different. There was more hallway action, so that was just. I don't even think I actually I just told the cast and crew like, hey, the ending's going to be slightly different now, so we'll just have to figure it out because I don't even have time to really rewrite the script. I was buying like clothes for the actresses the night before, so that was, I'd say, the biggest hurdle is once you write for a location and then that location, you know, vanishes. How do you quickly kind of work it in your mind? So, you know,
Okay. So did
we
you
made it work.
actually have to work with wardrobe? Now that you mention it, like usually, office settings, everybody has clothes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so yeah, and it's funny because I just shot another office set horror film, an idea I've had for years based on my experience as a casting director. And that time with 12 actors, note to self, I don't recommend having 12 actors and no wardrobe person because I bought a whole bunch of clothes and I couldn't always catch all the continuity and everything. But with this film, it was totally fine. I just, and Steven, who played the kind of creepy male coworker, he was able to just buy a white shirt and I just reimbursed. I only really had to buy clothes for Jen as Melanie, and I just got a couple different options. You know, some that were more businessy. I kind of liked her in that like kind of bright pink sweater. It just sort of felt bold. And we could still see the red blood on it. So I just went to, luckily I lived right near a popular outlet, like, you know, shopping center. So I just went to a bunch of different stores and presented her with clothes. I was like, try them on, see what works for you. I'm open. But yeah, it is nice to have a wardrobe person. Luckily, I had a great special effects makeup artist, Jordan, who was able to apply great blood on the knife and the knife I bought on Etsy, and apply it to her shirt. You know, you have to buy copies of everything just in case.
yeah,
So that was also, you know, so I was doing the wardrobe as well myself. That time it was okay. This next time with more actors, I don't recommend it. Try to just even if you need to, because I also I know your previous filmmaker said, you know, he likes to pay everyone. I always pay everyone, and if I can't pay you, or you know, if there's no payment, I do a barter. Like on my last short, a couple crew, I couldn't pay them. I didn't think I really needed them, but actually I really did, but it wasn't in my budget. So I happily am casting their work for free as a trade, you know? So yeah, no matter what, when you work with me, you are going to get some sort of payment. But even if you can't pay the wardrobe person, when you have a certain kind of cast, an amount, or there's changes or there's blood, just have that extra set of eyes and figure out some sort of trade, you know?
that's fantastic. Well done. Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Uh, we're going to be moving forward with the next film, but
Yeah.
where can we find more of your work? Do you have a website? Just
Sure, thank you. Yeah, so yeah, you can look up mjp-pov.com. I'm on Instagram, Facebook. I really update social media more than my website, which I feel like we all probably do now,
okay.
right? But yeah, you can see some previous horror shorts that I've made. Family History, I'm really proud of that one. That's on Amazon Prime and Vimeo on demand and on Revry TV. I'm pretty sure it's still free to watch on Revry, which is an LGBTQ um, service for films. There's that. There's Sticks on Amazon Prime. My other short film, Twin, is still on the festival circuit. All horror, some of them with a LGBTQ angle, just because I like to merge those worlds because there are so many queer people that love horror. So yeah, there's a few of that. Of course, this film is on YouTube. It's my most popular uh video on YouTube. So make fan films because it's a genius way to just interact with a community that's already there. So
Exactly.
there's that, and then my new film Casting Kill. That's the other Office Set one. So that we're entering post production on that. So you'll hopefully see that on the film festival circuit. And I think I'm gonna do another fan film. Maybe I'll send it your way. That'll be a continuation of I Know What You Did Last Summer, another '90s slasher. So we'll see. I have some ideas. I might shoot that soon. So yeah.
Um, please add it into the chat. We would
Sure.
love to actually share it with everybody here.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. I'll send you my Instagram. Go for it. And that everything's there. So there
huzzah!
you
Thank
go.
you for the hand.
Thank you very much.